Hello. So today I want to talk to you about the game Flock Together. Now, normally when it comes to like boss battler games, you must defeat them all before the end of the game. That's not generally my thing. It doesn't usually appeal to me. However, you give it some amazing artwork, you throw in some fun puns, and you give me high quality components, and turns out I am all about it. This game plays 1 to 5 players and it plays fabulously solo, which I'm always on the lookout for, because the way it works is ultimately you have 4 bosses that you are trying, or characters, bad guys, whatever you want to call them, that you are trying to defeat. And in order to do that, they have a certain ability level, you have a certain ability level, and you're going to go head to head. And if you don't defeat them all by the end of the game, then obviously you lose. And if you do, then you win. So it is co-op when you're playing multiplayer. And when you're playing solo, it's fantastic, in my opinion, because every bad guy has a health value and it's simply multiplied by the number of players playing the game. So you don't have to modify it if you're playing solo, which I love. So this game is taking place, you are chickens and you are needing to protect your coop. So your coop is right here in the center of the board. This area, this is your coop. And all out here is where the bad guys are, because, nature's kind of cruel and you don't want any of that nature coming into your area. So you're having to go out and defend your area. Down here's your round marker where some things are going to be happening that I'll explain. And then in the different locations is where your bad guys will be. And you're also going to have some grub that are kind of like smaller bad guys that you can also take out in order to get some benefits that will help you with the big bads. So every player is going to have their player board where your health is going to be here, and you are going to have your player book. And I love, seriously, the names of these chickens are great. I know there is an expansion coming that will have even more, but you can play as Annie Yoakley, and your book will just fit right there. You can play as Beowing. You can play as General So. You can play as Sherlock Holmes. There's also a bad guy that is a take on Moriarty, which I love. Madam Tchaikovsky. So as you can see, the puns are adorable. So each chicken that you are playing as, you start out as just this cute little chick, and it tells you what your abilities are. And then you can see what will happen as you level up. There's also some cute flavor text on the back about your chicken that you're playing as. And as you eat more meals, you will level up, which will give you more health, and it will give you more abilities to lay eggs and things like that, which translates into meals, which when you eat meals, you level up, you get more power. So it's this whole synergy that you're doing. So you've got this going here, and then you've got your egg reserve. And these may look similar to the eggs of another game, but these eggs are much heavier, so they're not quite the same. And then over here is where, when you eat, all these food are the same value-wise, but you'll collect your food over here. And then you will have your health. You always start out with 3, and as your chicken grows, you will get more. And as you go to battle, you may potentially lose some health, and then you need to go back and heal. On your turn, you're getting to take 2 actions. All of the actions are listed at the bottom of your board, so that makes it super easy. And actions are sometimes location dependent and sometimes not. So one of the actions you can do is move, because if you need a location dependent action, you need to get yourself to that spot. Also, once per season, because the game's played over 3 seasons, you'll have a token that lets you take 1 additional move. So you have different options. You can heal, you can forage for food, you can do different things like that. So you're going to be taking your actions. And then, like I said, the game is played over 3 seasons. So the first season is spring. And for that first set of actions, you will have a weather condition that's going to change something about the game that you have to comply with. And you will play 3 rounds in spring, 3 rounds in summer, and 3 rounds in fall. And by then you better have defeated everyone. Each of these different consequence. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So this one says fair. So it's fair weather for the spring. If you forage at least once on your turn, gain a bonus food. That is wonderful. However, drought. Foraging now requires 2 actions. Previously, it only required 1. So sometimes the weather is helpful and sometimes it is hurtful. There's also super cute dice you get to roll that have little chicken features on them. You'll have your little chicken player in the coop that you'll move around the board. And then, like I said, there are the bad guys. So you will play with a total of 4 every game, and you must defeat the 3 smaller ones before you defeat the big one. So let's see, for example, who are some of the bad guys that we have? Oh, yep, Professor Moriarty. I am a Sherlock Holmes fan. I maybe have the Lego book nook on its way, so you can play against Professor Moriarty. And as you see here, this is the health they start out with. Every season that you do not defeat one of them, you go to the next page in the book and they get stronger. So that also is a reason to defeat them sooner while they're weaker, but you are also weaker earlier on. Then there's often something that will happen if you attack them and are not successful, and sometimes even if you attack them and are successful. This is Salmonella. And we have Esmeralda. And we have Gravekeeper Fowl. And again, I'm only showing you a couple of the baddies, a couple of the chickens that you can play at. There's way more in the box. So lots of options. This game is so cute. It's so fun. You're trying to get all of the things done that you need to. You have the variable weather conditions every game. I am absolutely loving Flock Together. So I would love to know if you have played this, what do you think of it? Give me a like and a follow, and I'll keep bringing you more board game content. Thanks. Bye.